Wah. Why is there? Okay, I'm listening to this one. Okay. Let's see here. How do I want to start this? So, I'm turning this down. Alright, so let's just, I guess let's just start it. So for the exact methodology of the PR, it still feels too loud. What we typically do is that we do like a top 15 ranking where each person sends their individual top 15 at the end of the season, and then we average these lists together to form the average list. And then once we have the average list, we have a discussion / meeting where we all go into a voice call and talk about the rankings and see if there's like any contentious points to talk about, or bring up like any points that someone might have missed. So like, for example, like me, when ranking like myself, we we could bring up like the fact that I got like 13 for Good Cooked, and someone might not have taken that into account for this, but it seems like everyone has like objectives, but that's just an example. So now that the methodology is out of the way, these are the 5 submitted lists. It was a bit of weird this season because we had only 5 members in the panel because Lunges was doing the state PR panel and opted to abstain. We are getting 2 new panelists for next season, so this like small sample size won't be an issue in the future. Really quickly, I want to talk about the players who didn't make it because they didn't qualify, which would be the first one being Drewish, or Blue Boo rather. Blue Boo, he actually did pretty well in West Michigan this season. But the problem was that because this season was an extra month long, we decided to make the minimum requirement 7 with one additional out of region event counting towards the minimum. As you can see, he only had 5 West events, and taking into account 1 in each event, that only put him to 6, which is why he did not qualify. He probably would have been in the 3 to 5 range, which would have pushed 1% out of the top 10. But as you can see, he still did pretty well this season, beating DG, beating Ducks, beating Wilf, beating Suspect twice, beating Boober, beating Elliott, beating Boober twice more. He also did really well at East Michigan events, getting 30 Good Cooked. I know he got 5th at the MSU tournament, and I think he didn't place any lower than 13th at the rest of the regionals. So, and then there's the one where he was ranked number 6 on the state PR. Second player to talk about that didn't qualify, but probably would have made PR if they did qualify, is Drewish. Drewish only went to 4 things in West Michigan, and then you count 1 of either cost. Then you count like his 1. Then you count like cost, which he went to. Of course, Drewish is held up by his 3rd at Stampede, which probably would have gotten him onto PR by itself. We also beat a Dorm Knight. He beat Elliott. He beat Hawk and Blue Boo. He beat Ryoku a couple times. Beat DG a couple times. He had a pretty good season. Probably would have been ranked in the top 10 if he didn't qualify. More than likely, he definitely would have. And then the last person would be Ryoku. Who is looking like he's going to qualify for this season. But last season, again, he learned the four things. Did pretty well. Beat Suspect twice. Beat me, beat CK. Beat Chan, beat Suspect, beat Hawk. So he also more than likely would have made PR if he did qualify. But he was 3 events short, so it was unlikely that he wasn't going to qualify. And then I think the last person to talk about is Clark. Because Clark was an invader this season who went to 4 West things. Bless me. Yeah, he went to Revival twice, and he got second in Stampede and won Revel World 1 year anniversary. And taking into account his 1 East event, he would have been at 5. So if he went to 2 more West things, he would have qualified for West Michigan PR. And he probably would have made it. So that's like 4 spots that were that probably would have gotten taken away had they qualified for PR. It would have been close for guys like a Dorval Knight and Ducks. But still. Alright, now let's get into the actual people who did qualify but did not make it. So we even though we did a top 15 ranking, there are 16 people who received votes. And so these 16 people were all in consideration for the PR. Let's start off with the lowest ranking one, which was Zamo. And if necessary, I am going to look at PG stats for some of these people. Most West Michigan people don't have a lot of significant East results until we get into like the top 5. So we're going to talk about Zamo, who was ranked 15th in the database. Zamo went to 7 things this season. He is highlighted by having an Onin win. He also beat Elliot at that same event. But apart from that, he was pretty inconsistent, as you can see. He got 13th, 9th, got 25th at SMP, which is pretty good. But he also drowned in pools at Revel World 1 year anniversary. Yeah, he had a good season. It just wasn't consistent enough to be ranked in the top 10. And he only had 2 signature wins, which, being inconsistent and only having 2 good wins isn't good enough. Next up was Flexible, which he was ranked 12th in the database. Flexible went to... Actually, he didn't even qualify. Okay, well, I guess he didn't qualify, but... I thought he did. That's weird. Oh, well. Anyway, so he was highlighted by first at All-Star Coliseum. It doesn't really matter. Where he beat Elliot and Suspect twice. But apart from that, he was pretty underwhelming, getting 7s mostly at the rest of the Starlights that he went to, and not picking up any like high-end wins there. He did beat some good people like Question Mark, Lunges, Katie Fox, B. Smith, like borderline West Michigan PR people. But after his first tournament, he did not do as well as the season went on. Next up was Q Mark, Question Mark. He went to a lot this season. He went to 17, he went to 19 things. I think that was the second most out of anybody. But yeah, he beat Adorable Knight, he beat Elliot, he beat Boo Bear, he beat Elliot again. So like yeah, four high-end wins across 19 tournaments, where he wasn't even like the most consistent. Like drowned in pools at Stampede, 13th, 17th, 17th, 9th. Like he underperformed at like 9th. Like he underperformed at like a third of his tournaments, and only got 4 good wins across all those tournaments, which is why he didn't make the PR. Next up is J-Boss. who ended up going to 10 things. During the season, he beat Boo Bear and Dux here. And that was like his best tournament. He didn't have like a lot of high-end wins, but he was still consistent. Like, he only did not make top 8 like 3 times at all the events he went to. But yeah, like he went to only 10 things. And underperformed at 4 out of 10 of his events, I would say. But he's still only like... beating Boober and Dux here was pretty good. Yeah, he barely edged out question mark in our rankings, so... Anyway. Yeah, it seems he and Teamwork are pretty close, which... and then we have Wilf, who I don't think did that well in West Michigan, but he was kind of carried by his out-of-region wins. Like, he did pretty consistent in West Michigan, only not getting top 8 twice. But he didn't go to 1 year anniversary, and he didn't go to Stampede, which were the two most important events of the season for West Michigan rankings. And as you can see, his West Michigan wins are pretty bare. His best win in the season was probably question mark, at least in West Michigan. No, it's probably CK. He beat CK once. Yeah, he beat CK once. What really carried him was his signature win over Low 1, which a lot of people on the panel led him to vote for Wilf in a higher spot because of his win over Low 1. And now we're also just getting people who actually went to the regionals. As you can see, he beat Low 1 at Mirage, and he also got 17 from Mirage, which was his highest placing at a regional, at least to my knowledge. He also beat Farron, who I think is number 4 in Wisconsin, question mark? I don't know. I went to check that really quick. Yeah, Farron is number 4 in Wisconsin, so I got that right. But yeah, the reason why Wilf did not make the West PR is because he didn't have good enough results in West Michigan. West Michigan to really warrant it. Next up, we have me, who missed the PR by 1 spot. Feels bad. Now, out of West Michigan players, I actually had like the 4th highest placement, or like not the 4th, but like the 5th or 6th highest placement at a regional, which was 13th. So woo. But yeah, I actually did like not that bad in terms of consistency, only missing top 8 once at a West Michigan event. And then still getting top 32 at Stampede. But my wins were pretty lackluster. Like, I beat CK once. And I only had 1 tournament where I beat Suspect and Defoe. So even though I was really consistent, I only beat Suspect and Defoe once, and at my 13th at Get Cooked, it did help me out a little bit, but it wasn't enough. Next up, we're going to take a look at CK's results. He went to the most things by far, I think going to 26 tournaments, which is a lot. And for going to 26 things, he was actually like pretty consistent. He missed that top 8 once, twice, three times, four times out of 26 things, which is really consistent, and then still got top 32 at Stampede. So only underperforming at 4 out of 26 tournaments, and he had decent wins throughout the season. I think he where is it? Yeah, he beat Ryoku here. He beat Boo Bear here. And he beat Dux. So he had wins against Dux, Boo Bear, and Ryoku. And being as consistent as he was, he had the same amount of wins as everyone below him, but he went to more stuff and was more consistent. The only thing that anyone below him had over him was that Wilf had a top 3 player in the state win against Low 1. So did Zamo, I guess. But I had the highest placing at a regional, which was the only argument I had to be above him. Next up at number 9 we have Chan. Who only went to one East thing. He didn't do that good a good kicker though. And he went to 9 things throughout the season. Did really well. His lowest placing at a local was 7th. And he still got top 32 at Stampede. I think he may have underperformed a little bit there. But yeah, he had a 3-0 record against me. Beat Dux. Beat Defoe. Beat Suspect. So yeah, he went to less things than CK. He was even more consistent than CK, while still having the same amount of good wins and beating Suspect, Defoe, and Dux. He also just had a better head-to-head spread, against the surrounding people than CK did. As you can see, CK had 2-1 against me, 2-1 against Flexible, 2-1 against JVOS, 1-2 against Wilf, 0-3 against Zamo. Whereas Chan was 3-0 against me, 1-0 against Flexible, and 1-0 against Wilf. And also Chan's wins were against Defoe and Suspect, who were ranked 2 and 3, while CK's best win was against Boo Bear, who was number 4. And they both had a Dux win. In fact, Chan was even with Dux this season. Anyway, now we're going to move on to Elliot. Newcomer this season. He actually did really well. Got 9th twice. He went to 18 things. I didn't realize he went to a lot. Only missed top 8 twice at... Actually, only missed top 8 once at West Virginia Local, because everyone 1 year anniversary is different. But he drowned in pools and Stampede, so he underperformed there. But apart from that, he had a pretty solid season. I know he had a 3-0 record against DG, but beat Boo Bear a couple times. I think he beat Dux once or twice. Overall, a really solid season. If we go and look at the head-to-head. Yeah, he beat Onan once. Had 3-0 against DG. Had 2 wins against Boo Bear by being 2-9. 9-0 against CK. Just a pretty solid season. The fact that he's 3-0 against DG helped him out a lot. And at number 7, we had Adorable Knight, who didn't do that well at the East Michigan events he went to, and I think he only got 17th at Stampede. But he was obviously pretty consistent regardless. Going to 11 things. Only missed top 8 once, which was at a Grand Revival. Apart from that, had a pretty consistent season. Yeah, he beat Boo Bear, beat Dux, beat Chan, beat Quark, beat Boo Bear, beat Elliot. Yeah, he barely edged out Elliot. He's 2-6 against Boo Bear, 1-1 against EG, 1-3 against Dux, he had a winning record over Elliott, and so that's why probably the main reason why we gave it to him. You could definitely make the argument that Elliott should have been above Adorable Knight. But Adorable Knight also went to like East Michigan Regionals, where I think he got 17th at everyone he went to, which is pretty solid. So, anyway, moving on to Ducks, who had a very consistent season, as he usually does. No lower than 5th. Didn't go to Stampede, which hurts. Didn't go to 1 year anniversary, which hurts. And if you just take a look at his head-to-head. He beat Onan once. His head-to-head with Buber is actually better because he beat him once at a Crimson Clash. 0-9 versus DG hurt a lot. 3-1 against Adorable Knight though. 3-0 against Elliott. 3-1 against CK. 1-1 against Chan. 1-0 against me. I had a really good season. Well deserved. Oh, that's number 6 spot. Number 5 we had DG. The fact that he was 9-0 against Ducks was crazy. He also beat Onan once. Beat Buber a couple times. Beat even versus EK. The only thing kind of dragging him down was his 0-3 record against Elliott, but he still obviously had a really good season outside of that. Went to 10 things. He got 9th at Stampede, which is actually pretty good. And then he didn't go to 1 year anniversary. He DQ'd out of it. But he had no lower than 5th at a local, even winning one of them. So, yeah, obviously, really good season for DG. Next up, we're going to talk about Buber. Now we're finally going to talk about East Michigan results more at length here. Got 5th at Good Cooked, beating Goma Kenpi, and I think he beat Scrubbed out there too, and Bogu. But yeah, went to 16 things. No lower than 7th at a West Michigan event. Yeah. Top 8 of everything. Got 5th at Stampede as well. Really good season for him. Did he beat anyone like kind of significant in Stampede? Other than like West Michigan people? Yeah, he beat Defoe, beat Yoder. Yeah, definitely a good, absolutely really good season for Buber. Not quite on top. He's not on top of West Michigan like he used to be pre-quarantine, but still definitely in that top 5 mix for sure. Even his head-to-head, 1-1 against Defoe. 0-2 versus Suspect, 0-7 versus Onan. 5-2 versus DG, 4-2 versus Duck, 6-2 versus Adorable, 9-2 versus Elliott, 8-1 versus EK, 1-0 versus Chan. Didn't play against me. I would have beaten him though. Now we look at Suspect, who's the highest he's ever been in West Michigan PR, placing number 3, going up 1 spot from last season, I think. He was highlighted this season by a 4th at Get Cooked, where he beat Awakening, who's number 2 in Indiana. He also beat Defoe at the tournament. He also beat Scrubbed out of the tournament too. So, but yeah, did very well this season. Went to what am I looking at? I don't want matches with 3. There you go, tournament history. Okay, tournament history. Yeah, went to 15 things. Underperformed a little bit at Stampede, getting 17th. But yeah, placed no lower than 3rd at all the locals he went to. No place lower than 2nd, actually. Doing all the locals he went to. And he got 3rd at 1 year anniversary, where he beat Lucy there. But yeah, and if you take a look at the head-to-head, which was obviously really good. Had winning records against Onan, Defoe, and Buber, and Ducks, and Elliott, and CK. He didn't get a chance to play DG or Adorable this season, which kind of hurts. 5-1 against me. Whoa. Next up, number 2, we're going to have Defoe, who obviously was number 4 in the state PR. He beat Onan this season. He beat a lot of people this season. Let's go and look at Defoe, just from the PG stats point of view. So yeah, Atticus Cook got 7th, where he beat Copel. He beat Marcy at Sendoff, beat Blue Boo and Broly and Lavish at Mirage 2 to get 5th. 7th for Wolverine 4, where he beat Sass. He's number 4 in Cincinnati. Beat Blue Boo there, beat Jado. Got 20th for Combo Breaker. Again, got 5th at Stampede, where he beat Jado and Mace and Quark. Got 3rd at Summer of Love, his best tournament of the season, where he beat Raymond Noodles, Quark, and Dilster. And then got 33rd at Gamo, which actually didn't count for the season, so I don't know what I'm talking about it. And as you just look at him in here, he actually only went to 9 things, but, you know, when you got no worse than 2nd at the locals, and I got 5th at Stampede. And while his head-to-head may not have been as solid as Suspects, his East side results definitely held him pull through. Though his head-to-head was still very good. You know, even record versus Boo Bear, 1-3 against Onan, 6-7 versus Suspect, 3-0 against Dex, 3-0 against Odormalite, 3-1 against Shan, 4-1 against me. So like still very good head-to-head. And then at number 1, we have obviously Onan. He won Combo Breaker. He won Cost. Got 2nd at Warp Zone. Those all counted for last season. Won, I think, 2 or 3 of the regionals in Michigan last season. He had a pretty much spotless head-to-head last season. Only losing record was against Suspect, which he only played 1 time. But yeah, as you can see, he got 2nd at Summer of Love, where he beat Icy Mist, he beat Defoe, he beat Quark, he beat Psycod. He got 1st at Stampede, where he beat Quark and Bloom, which is Blue Boo, not Blue Boo, Blue Bear. He got 5th at Wolverina, where he beat Dice and CKlo. Got 2nd at Mirage, where he beat Sean and Geist and Zenodo and Goma. Got 1st at Sendoff, where he beat Low 1 twice and Zenodo and Copel. Got 1st at Get Cooked, where he beat Dilster twice and Blue Boo and Copel. So yeah, obviously incredible season for Onan. He's ranked number 1 in this APR. And even if he wasn't doing as well in West Michigan as he was doing statewide, I know he didn't like sweep West Michigan this season or anything like that. You can see he still won almost everything he went to, but he got 3rd once, got 4th once. More funds. And like I said, he only had 1 negative head-to-head, which was against Suspect. So yeah, and only dropped like a few games to West Michigan players in the season, like few sets. Like he dropped 1 set to Defoe, dropped 1 set to Suspect, dropped 1 to DG, 1 to Dux, 1 to Elliott, and then 1 to Zamo. So he only dropped 6 sets on the season for at least for the West Michigan people. Yeah, very, very good season for Onan. No wonder he's ranked number 1 in the state as well. And with that, the explanations have concluded. Thank you guys for watching. This is going to be uploaded to YouTube later. And I'll see you guys in the next stream.